Somehow I'm supposed to be able to go up to record. Okay. Well, ladies, we want to welcome you to Style RX Behind the Curtain. Those of you that have joined Rebecca and I, Rebecca, wave. For the past couple of months with Style RX on our Fashion Fridays, you'll know that we have a lot of fun collaborating together and bringing in women from our community and stylists that we love and adore. So tonight is all about pulling back that cabbie curtain and kind of giving you that insider's look into our culture, what it's like to run a cabbie business, and why we feel like our collaborative efforts are not just in this little window, but company-wide. And then we're also going to learn about these two amazing guest stylists that we have with us tonight. I'm going to give you a quick introduction, and I'm going to start with Jeana Wood. She is from Oklahoma. She has 2 boys, and she is a middle school music teacher, and she has been fighting this COVID thing, but with both the school being closed down and then back and forth. And then Jamie Anderton, she is actually on my cabbie team. So of course I have a special place for her. And she is the mother of 5 children. She just, drum roll, closed her nail business of 25 years. So I'm excited about that. She finally took the plunge, and she has been selling cabbie now for 8 seasons. So to get started, Rebecca and I are going to kind of turn the time over to them. We're going to prompt them with a few questions, but we really want to know about them, what drew them to cabbie, what was their attractor factors. And those of you that are joining us, whether you're joining us by recording or you're joining us live, we're really hoping to kind of help you out, whether this is something that you're looking into doing, or you just love us and you're joining us and you are going to be our talent scouts. So it's always good to know what happens behind the scenes, so that if you know somebody that would make a great stylist, you know a little more and you can refer them our direction. So tonight, I actually want to start with Jamie because of the announcement I just made. When we first met, you were, and you just retired your nail business. So when we first met, you had a lot of fears of doing something else. So I'm going to lead you into this question. What's the one thing that you were told about cabbie that you thought was too good to be true? And now that you've been doing this for 8 seasons, what's that one thing that you found is very much true and you're so glad you listened?
Oh goodness, that's a good question. Something that I thought was too good to be true was probably the income. I mean, I really, I've done a few other at-home businesses kind of on the side with my nail business and never made any money at anything. So with cabbie, it's actually become a career. It's actually, obviously, I just closed my nail business and I am doing cabbie full-time now. So I'm bringing home a paycheck. I'm contributing to my family, and that's been amazing. I really didn't think it was going to happen, but it has. So.
Well, Jeana, I actually want to direct that same question to you because we know you work full-time as a teacher. So what's the one thing that you kind of heard about being a cabbie stylist that you thought, oh, I've done a few things, it's too good to be true, but you're finding it's actually very true?
Well, I actually had not heard of cabbie until I went to my sister-in-law's show and I signed up 2 days later. So I didn't even know about it. I didn't know it existed. But I will have to say, I agree with Jamie, and I can say that my husband agrees with Jamie because I had done some other things as well. And I think he's been very surprised when I say, do you know how much income I made last month? Do you realize how much income I made last month? And I am, this is my 7th season. So I am trying to position myself, as much as I love my teaching, I am trying to position myself to where I can do cabbie full time. We are empty nesters and my husband travels for work. So I would like to have a little bit more flexibility. And so, yeah, I would have to agree that the money is I've been really surprised.
Well, I love that you guys actually agree on that answer, because I do feel like one of the greatest things about Cabby is that if you need to make a little more money, you can book an extra show. If you need a little more free time with your kids, you can kind of pull that back and you're 100% in control. Rebecca, I'm going to throw it to you so that you can ask them your next question. But for those of you just joining us, Jamie, go ahead and wave. She is our guest stylist this season. And then Jeana's going to go ahead and wave as well. She's from Oklahoma. Jamie's from Logan, Utah. And I see Kelsey and Lottie here. So welcome. This is Style RX Behind the Curtain with Rebecca and Amy. So Rebecca, go ahead.
All right. Well, I love the fact that you guys are both busy women, you have families, and I would love to hear what would be a tip from you in how to make that all work. And so just one tip, I'm sure you're chock full of them, but as you're thinking about working this business in and around your family and other careers, which you both have or are doing, I'd like to just know how that's worked and what's one thing that you've done that you just have stuck with and you know that it's helped you be successful. Jamie, we'll start with you.
I would say 100% it's my calendar. It's my planner. I got it right here. I still use my phone. I do a lot of digital planning too, but I have to block out time in my calendar, and I have to, if I don't do that, things just don't get done. Too many balls in the air. I drop too many of them. So definitely my calendar is my saving grace.
And do you have set nights of the week that you work your business, or do you just kind of block out your calendar and see what works and go with it?
I have set nights that I do Cabby shows on. They do tend to change from season to season, depending on what my kids' schedules are with, soccer and cheer and all the fun stuff that they're into. But usually for the season, I'll kind of know what they're going to be doing. And then I block out 2 nights a week that I do Cabby shows on. So
excellent. Jeana, how about for you? What's a tip that you can give to busy women that may be looking at this business? They've got careers, they have families, they're wondering, where on earth am I going to find the time to do this? Help us out.
I agree about the calendar. Being a teacher, I have my whole year's worth already done. When we start in August, my whole calendar is already done for school. And so I definitely plug that in my calendar. But one of the biggest tips I think is that you work your business with what works for your life. And everybody's business looks different. If you need to make a lot of money and you want to do 3 shows a week, or maybe you just want to do 1 show a week and that's what works for you. I know that we as women tend to compare ourselves to each other, and that's kind of, I think, can really be a downfall. I think you need to find the things that work in your busy schedule and in your life and with your kids, and that's what you focus on, and that's what you do well, and not worry about what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. And really set realistic goals based on that. I think that's so very, very smart. Amy, I know you work Tuesdays and Thursdays with shows, right?
Yeah. And I am noticing we're both wearing this fabulous jacket. You can tell Rebecca and I have the same brain.
Yeah, that was not planned.
Yeah. Well, what's great about, actually, if you want to look at the positives of COVID, it has actually made us all pivot just a little bit. And I have always done 2 shows a week because this is what I do. And then with COVID and we couldn't go, thank goodness we had our front row platform. So that has actually allowed me a little more flexibility if there's sometimes, especially because a lot of women don't want me to do back-to-back shows. They want the clothes to air out and different things. So with our Style RX, I just kind of block our calendar out too. So there's a night of the week that I'm doing stuff with you, Rebecca, as we collaborate. There's 2 nights of the week that I will go out on the road, or I can even now add an hour show through our Frontline platform and not even have to leave the house. So going into spring, we're still a little bit in the unknown. So I do plan to continue to block my calendar out for Tuesdays and Thursday nights. as far as shows that I will do in the evening and maybe go out, to a location if everyone's comfortable with that. But I'm pretty excited about the options that we have virtually as well. What about you, Rebecca? How do you do that? What works for you? What's a great tip?
Yeah, I very much work by the calendar blocking method, and I don't have set nights of the week that I do shows week in and week out. I do have, like, I've already got my spring booked out and kind of blocked out as well. And so I know when I'm going to work, and I'm just very purposeful and intentional on that. And I think one of the big things that's important, especially for someone new starting out, is to treat this like a business from the beginning. And you be very choosy about the nights of the week that you're going to work, because time spent on one thing is time spent away from something else, i.e. your family. And so just know going into it that you are the master of your own calendar. So don't allow things to kind of blow up and get into that point where you're like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And you get resentful, because that can happen. We have a ton of fun when we're out there working. And so it's hard sometimes to rein that back in and be real realistic. But I would say definitely calendar block and just treat your business like a business from the beginning, and others are going to treat it that way as well.
That's great. Jamie and Jeana, I'm going to pose the same question to you. What was the attractor factor to you? Jamie, you had mentioned you've done a couple different things. Jeana, you're a school teacher, so you're already busy enough. What's the one thing that really drew you to the business side of Cabby? And Jeana, you said you signed up really quickly. So you may not have an answer to this part, but what's the one hesitation you had when looking into this? So what attracted you to Cabby? What did you like about it? And then if there was a hesitation and you drug your feet, what was that? Or Jeana, you can tell us why you just jumped on the boat too. So
I had actually it'd been a couple of years since I had done any kind of like side hustle, and I really wasn't looking for anything specifically. I love to shop. I love to shop for other people. I mean, I like it as much to shop for other people as I do to shop for myself. My husband would argue with that, but it really is the truth. I love to find people really amazing things that they feel amazing in. And so I had actually been kind of toying with the idea of trying to become a personal shopper. And as I was I'm in Oklahoma, and I'm like, okay, probably many people don't think they need a personal shopper in Oklahoma. And then I also started thinking, am I gonna have to go to all these stores, hunt to 5 or 6 different stores? So that was kind of already in my mind. And so then when I went to the show, I went, there's 100 pieces on the line. I don't have to go anywhere else. I mean, I can literally personal shop for anyone and everyone right here each season. And so that was really what drew me to it. And my hesitation was my husband. I'll be honest. It was the startup fee, and he didn't really understand what you were getting, but with the line of clothing that you were getting, and I explained to him, they can't just give that away because people would just take it and run with it. So it is an investment, but it's also what I have learned is if you invest in something, you're more likely to follow through than if someone just gives you something. So that would probably be my only little hesitation was my husband. I was all in from like the moment I saw it. I mean, I said that night, I'm in trouble because I got to do this. I mean, this was made for me and I have to do this. So.
Well, and I love that. And my attractor factor was actually the opposite. I live in the country and I hated to shop. I had two little kids. And so when Cabby was coming to my house every 6 months, I was like, bam, So Jamie, do you want to go ahead and give us your attractor factor and what your hesitation might have been?
So Jeana, I think we need to be good friends because it was kind of the same for me. I was introduced to Cabby at a show that Amy did, and I fell in love with the clothes. And I even came home that night and said to my husband, I really think this is something I can do. And then I had a show, and right after the show that night, I was like, okay, I want to hear how I can do this. So it was pretty quick for me too. But I have always loved fashion. I've been a little fashionista since I was, really little, I like you, I love to shop for other people. I used to work at Buckle. I don't know if any of you know Buckle, but that's kind of one of the things there is the personal shopping aspect of it. And I was really good at that part of it. I would always call people in to do like fits with them. That was my thing. And so I've always wanted to be a personal shopper, even in high school. So that was the biggest attractor factor for me. The scary thing for me, the hesitation, was the presentation. I mean, and Amy can tell you, I was scared to death. Like, you get me one-on-one and I'm great. Like, I can have a conversation with you. I can put you in the clothes. It's fun for me, but to stand up in front of people and act like I know what I'm talking about or know what I'm talking about scares the crap out of me. Literally, I shake, but I don't do that anymore. Now I can wing it. I know that first season I was kind of, I wanted a script and I wanted to know exactly what to say. And I was really, Amy can tell you, it was really a scary thing for me. And now I'm just like, I can wing this. I love the clothes so much. It's really easy to talk about them. And they're all amazing. They feel so good and they're so comfortable. So it's become an easy thing, but it was very, very scary for me in the beginning.
Well, I also think that attributes to the training that we get. Now, this is one thing that I think is very understated in our company. We are not alone in this business. So Jamie's talking about fear, and it really was paralyzing to her, but we're never alone in this. So, I am her team leader. So she was really easy to work with. And as leaders, we can only do so much. If you're willing to learn, we're willing to bring you alongside. And our mentors also come alongside. But the training, from knowledge of fabrications to how things fit, to how to fit somebody, you never are actually winging it in this company. There might be a season or two where you're kind of second guessing yourself, but it's like anything else, practice, practice, practice. And then things become very natural. And our training, our websites, we actually don't pay anything. So yes, we do have an investment fee in that, but we don't actually pay for the incredible training that we have. And so I love, Jamie, that you talked about that a little bit, because I think it's one thing that we don't think about. We are not doing this unknown. And I actually have a neighbor who, dang it, I wish I would have known she was looking into something. She's never been to a cabbie show, but she's starting up a whole new boutique right now. And she's had to create a website. She has to buy the clothes from a manufacturer. She is going at this 100% by herself. And so I actually reached out to her and I said, if you need help finding grid walls or a rolling rack, or if you want me to show you how to size somebody, I'm happy, because I just want her to succeed, even if it's not with cabbie. But I feel 100% confident doing that for her because of the knowledge that we're given here.
I will say that something that impressed me from the beginning was that not just the knowledge, but where you start as a launch stylist, the training that you have is exactly what you need at that moment. I was so struck with that. My first season freshman, I went to those workshops. And when I came back to the second season, I had all these questions written down that I wanted to ask. And by golly, that's everything they talked about before I even asked. So it's truly exactly where you are in your business as you go along. And that's just, I think the most amazing part is that when you're starting out, it's truly those things that really you are searching for at the very beginning, and then they lead you right through it. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I love the fact that Jeana says she just jumped right into this, because I was originally introduced to cabbie 14 years ago, and I was a very good client and hostess for years and years. I've been a stylist now for 10 seasons, so that's 5 years. But it wasn't something I jumped into. I was in a leadership role in another direct sales company, and the timing was just off. And I think one of the things that really drew me to this company is the business model. And we've kind of talked about the investment. There is a sizable investment to begin your business. that you recoup through sample sales. But that was really, it pulled me in because I was coming from a background of the $100 starter kit direct sales business. And I was just really kind of done with it and needed something that produced income for myself at a corporate level. And yet, you know, there wasn't going to be 20 other stylists in my town of 1,100, which is the case with the other company. So I think the fact that we pay really close attention to demographics, and Cabby is not going to allow you to start a business if the demographics don't show that you can have a successful, viable business. So that's really, really important to me. And I really feel like that's the strength of our company and our culture coming through. And I just really love that. So I would love to hear, I think one of the things that people think about, well, how do I meet people? Who do I talk to? And so I'd like to hear what your favorite way of meeting new potential clients and hostesses are in a normal time, and then how you're kind of pivoting to make that work during this unconventional time. So we'll start with you, Jeana.
Normal time, I would say, well, and it's kind of the same now. I have teachers that I teach with, and it's kind of tricky. You want them to love Cabby, but you don't want them to dodge you in the hallways because, oh, she comes again, so it's a very tricky, situation. So I reached out to my friends, and I always ask for referrals, but I actually started this back when we were normal. I would go weekly and try to add about 10 friends on Facebook, like friends of friends, like maybe people that I had, I think I do know them, and just kind of expand that. And then after I had been friends with them for a while and interacted with them for a little bit, then I would invite them to my homepage or my business page. And then, usually after we'd interacted a little bit, then I would maybe personal message them. Hey, have you heard of Cabby? I would invite them to a show. And that really, one of my goals each season has been to add 8 new hostesses every season. And I've been pretty successful with that because I'm always looking for referrals, or I'm encouraging, hostesses to add a few 2 to 5 people every year or season that are new to them. So that's how I started. And that's kind of, luckily now it's kind of a good tool because people are on, social media a lot, not so much in person. So.
Yeah, those word of mouth referrals have just been huge in my business too. And I think it's so important to give ourselves grace as we're building this, because it is a building business. And like you said, it just keeps adding season after season. So you just need to be willing to put in the work, and you will receive the fruits of your labor. Jamie, how about for you?
So in the beginning, when I first started, because I did nails, I asked all of my friends and family. I begged them all. I just said, this is something that I'm super excited about, and I know I'm going to love it, and I know you will too. So will you just host one show for me, And I will say, out of all those people that I asked the first season, there's probably only a handful of them that are still hosting for me. So the best way at that time, when things were normal, to meet people was at the show. I have these shows that I begged all my friends and family to do for me, and met new people, and I don't have a hard time talking to people, so I just got in there and met new people that way. I would say now I've kind of had to pivot a little bit because we're not doing all of those shows, and it's a little harder. As much as I love Front Row and it's such a great tool for us, it's a little harder to get people on board to come. Once they do, they love it. But when you're hosting, it's hard for them to kind of get their friends like, come and do this. So that's been a little bit difficult, but I have joined a networking group, and that has been killer for my business, because we really want each other to succeed in our group of like 40 people. And we're always constantly passing referrals back and forth. And in fact, Lottie, that's joined us tonight, her husband is in my networking group. So that's how I met him.
Well, and I want to touch on that, because those of you that don't know me, I live in a very, very rural area. Just if you're familiar with Utah, Park City is outside of Salt Lake and I'm outside of Park City. So like my neighbors are the animals, the sagebrush, and I'm surrounded by men. So I've actually built this business up twice. I was a stylist for 10 years and walked away for 5 years, or 10 seasons, walked away for 10 seasons, which is 5 years. And now I'm back into my 12th season, but I really did have to start from ground zero again. There was a few women that I was able to bring back into my network that bought from me before and hosted for me before, but that was only because of the grace of my team leader. Because we have this amazing culture, we don't step on each other's toes. And so when I came back into the business, my team leader had taken all of my clients. There were new stylists that were selling in Park City. And so luckily I had branched out all around the Wasatch Front and back, and I was able to start my network again. But when I first started, I worked in a bank and I solicited my clients, and they told me I had to wear a uniform. And I was like, oh no, I don't. I am wearing my cabbie cutest. And I rebelled, and I would, if they made me wear a black uniform shirt, I actually made a homemade Chase tag and wore my own cabbie shirt that was black and said, look, I'm Chase branded and I was gonna wear cabbie cute clothes. And I solicited my banking clients. And luckily at the time I had a manager who didn't care, because I was a really hard worker and I got my job done. And if they said, oh, I like your shirt, or oh, I like your trousers, I was like, thanks, I sell them, call me, you know. So but now with us pivoting, it is more of, it's a little more work. I'm actually doing a lot what Jeana's doing as far as Facebook. I'm definitely being very aware of, are they another stylist client before I friend them? Is this somebody that I met through a show that maybe I haven't seen for 6 months and I didn't know she was on Facebook, or maybe she wasn't on Facebook before. So there are so many ways that we really can build our network, but this is a very viable company. And any viable career is going to take a little bit of elbow grease. So I think it just speaks for the amazing, amazing product that we have. We don't have to pay marketing. We just have to go out. Or if we get on a Zoom call, we only have to look cute from here up. So there's a lot of ways that we can market by putting on our cabbie cutest.
Absolutely. I would love to hear two things, and we've talked a little bit about this, but just a quick answer. Biggest challenge in your business today and your greatest joy. Jamie, let's start with you.
Okay. Biggest challenge is probably, Amy can tell you I am not very good with technology. It's a little bit of a struggle for me, and I have really had to dive in and learn about technology, and so that has been a challenge, but I'm doing it, dang it, and I'm proud of myself. And I would say my biggest joy, honestly, there is nothing like making a woman feel beautiful. Like it is the best job in the world. And I have done a lot of closet audits this season, some of them virtually. And I have had a couple of clients who I have one who woke up every morning and would look in her closet and cry because she is going through menopause and she's having a hard time and she's gained some weight. And she says, I just stand there in front of my closet and I cry because nothing fits me. And it reminds me of what I used to look like. And so it's been really cool to, now she loves to get dressed again. And her husband's buying her cabbie for Christmas because it makes her happy and it makes her feel good. And there is nothing like making a woman feel beautiful.
I agree 100%. I feel like my greatest joy is knowing that what I'm doing makes a difference, and I could do a lot of things to make money, and to be able to make money and make a difference in the world is huge for me. And I'm very much a people person. And so I really love that interaction when you're with someone in person. And so I think my biggest challenge at this moment in time is just the fact that that's fairly limited. And I'm a little, my hugometer or whatever is really low right now. We need to get over this so I can get that boosted back up. But Jeana, how about for you?
My biggest challenge is time. I am a middle school choir director, and I usually have about 150 kids in my program. This year is obviously different, but we have multiple evening things, weekend things, and just a lot going on. We do a lot of contests and trips and festivals. And so my biggest challenge that I find is just, I don't feel like that I'm able to give it the amount of time that I would like to. I will say, when COVID started from March to May I know it was terrible, but it was a huge blessing to me, because we were teaching from home at that time. And I actually felt like I had more time to call my clients and to interact with them and to check on them and to really do all those things that I feel like always stay on my list. And my biggest joy would be, I totally agree with what you're saying about those moments when you see that lady light up. But for me, I think it's been just the friendships that I have made. I mean, I have hostesses that I didn't know them before Cabby, and we have pool days, and we have, we do trips, and we have parties together that are not Cabby. And it's just been such a huge blessing for me to have that, to make new friends and to have that interaction with other ladies. So that, and not just my clients, but all the ladies around the United States and in England and in Canada that are stylists, who I just feel like when I finally see them in person, I'm just going to probably hug them and not let go, because I feel like I know them, that I've really gotten to bond with them through Zoom. But even so, I just feel like such a connection with them. So I'm very thankful for that.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's how I met Jeana. I mean, we were on a call with our executive founder, and I think I messaged her and said, "Oh my gosh, you're so cute," or I don't remember really, but I was like, I love that girl. Like, we still have not met officially in person, but I stalk her on Instagram, I send her messages, I have her cell phone, we're Facebook friends. And yeah, come live scoop, she better watch out, because I'm gonna like do the Rachel and Monica hug on her, from Friends. But
room at night.
Yes. And that's actually how Rebecca and I met as well. We met through Instagram over dogs. And then we ended up staying together at a leadership training, because it was my first time, it was her first time. And I sent her a message. And let me tell you, I was so intimidated to reach out to her, because I didn't know her background. I didn't know how long she'd been with Cabby, and I needed a roommate. And I was scared to death to say, "Will you stay with me?" And she was like, "Yes." And we got there, and look, all these years later, we're doing this huge collaboration. We do our collaboration on Fridays. Jamie, speaking of, I have to tell this really quick. When I met her at my show, we'd gone through the whole show and we were doing her order, and I finally found her last name out, and I was like, "What? You're not an Anderton from Morgan, where I went to high school, are you?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, my husband's Ryan." And I'm like, "You're the butt on Facebook?" Because his Facebook profile picture was them standing so you could see their backs, and his hand was on her butt. And that's all I ever knew of his wife for like ever. And so, it's so funny how COVID has made us pivot, but really, because we are women of connection, we've been able to allow this technology to really come in and connect us on a different level, and in ways that we're using it in a healthy manner. And, it really has helped me grow my business. It's put me, I have the biggest fear of being on Instagram Live. I will not do it. But in my private group where it's just my clients, I'll go on there without makeup and I'll, you know, I can be myself. And one of my biggest joys is truly the impact from the women. It's the self-growth. I never thought that would be the case, but I have grown so much as a person that I know that I'm a better person because of the lessons I've learned through Cabby, and because there's some challenges that I've had to work through, or some fears that I've had to work through. And these women just put your arms around you, and they are your biggest cheerleaders, and they tell you you can do it, and they send you random texts. So it truly is a culture of loving on everybody. And the one misconception is you do not have to be a fashionista coming into this. This is something that as your business grows and your confidence grows, then maybe you put on a different tone of makeup, or maybe you try print mixing and you've never done that before. So I just think this is such a hands-on business that it impacts you in so many ways.
I agree. Are we ready for our rapid fire questions?
Yes.
Okay. I think I will go ahead and just ask these and I'll answer. And then Amy, you give your answer. Jeana, how about you go next? And then Jamie, and and then I'll start off with the next one. And this is going to be fast. So keep it zippy and your answer short. All right. Okay. First of all, were you a hostess before you were a stylist? Yes, I was for years.
Yes, I was. 3 seasons.
No, I was not.
1 show. Yes.
All right. Favorite piece this season? I have to say it was the Freedom jacket before this lovely jacket came out, and it's definitely the Frontier jacket for me.
Okay, well, that's easy. Mine is the Outlaw leather jacket. I've waited for that for years.
I love that one too. I say Regency. I do love that one with the fringe, Regency coat.
I will say the denim shirt. The Rebel shirt is my favorite.
Awesome.
All right. Top business tip. Mine would be treat it like a business.
That's exactly what my advice has always been. Treat your mother, your sister, and your hostess you do not know the same. If you give one person a hostess gift, give it to them all. Treat them the same.
I kind of said it earlier. I think you find what works for you and your life, and build it your way. Don't base it on someone else's, but base it on what works for you.
Calendar.
I knew you were going to say that, Miss Blue.
Perfect. Favorite business book or podcast? And for me, mine would be Profit First. That was a life-changing book for me.
Probably the one that made the most impact on me, and Jamie can tell you this because I've told her a million times to read it, is called, oh crap, of course it just left. I'll have to come back to me because I'll get it off my thing. I just totally lost it.
Off my tongue either what it is, because I know what it is.
I know. Oh, Business for Leaders. Business for Leaders, and I'll get the author because now I can't remember that either, but they have a whole, Boundaries for Leaders. They have a whole thing on boundaries, and it was definitely something I needed to learn and love. So
was that by Dr. Henry Cloud?
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a list of books to read. I will be honest and say I have not. Every morning I am subscribed to Darren, I think it's Darren Hardy, and he does a Darren Daily every morning. And my business is a lot different than most of probably the people that he talks to. But I mean, just those little 5-minute things have been some really interesting and helpful tips, not just for my business, but sometimes just for my work, even, for school. So that's kind of my morning motivation.
Robin Pugh is amazing. Like, I have learned so much from him. And then also Start With Why. That is amazing.
Simon Sinek. Yeah, he's really good too. All right. And then let's share our Color Me colors real quick, our top one or two. And for those that are guests joining, this is a bit of a personality type. I am a red, which is a very direct kind of push, push, push type person. Amy, how about you?
Well, is that your natural or your adapted?
No, that's my natural. My second color is yellow, so I like to have fun, and it's pretty high up there too.
So that's why Rebecca and I have the same brain, because my natural is yellow and my adapted is red, but they are pretty much the same height. So when we're talking about this really quick, red is your goal-oriented right now person. Yellow is your fun, sporadic person. Green is very relational. Everything is pretty emotional. They feel everything, very empathetic people. And blue, they like a plan. They like everything just calendared out, written down, everything. So Jeana, what's yours?
I'm going to take it again because I am a very high green. I do not like any sort of conflict. And so reaching out and being bold is very, very, it's not normal for me. I have to push myself to do it. And it's very uncomfortable. My team leader will tell you that I'm red. I'm not red. Red is my learned through my job as a choir teacher. I've had to learn to be kind of pushy and do things, but I'm totally, it makes me almost sick to my stomach to be red. Yeah. So I'm green is my top.
I am also very green.
Yes,
and blue, you keep talking about calendaring.
Yes. Blue's pretty high up there. My adaptive is all pretty even, except for my red. I'm like, that's why Amy and I balance each other.
It's also why I hurt her feelings a couple of times, because I didn't know what I said was not nice. I was just getting to the point.
Yeah, we're very to the point.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think we want to open up to our guests. Do you guys have any questions that you would like for us to address?
Go ahead and unmute both of you.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to say that my favorite cabbie thing that I bought from Jamie is the orange rust pants. I wear them almost every day. I can't even get enough of them. And I have clients that are, I'm a stylist and I do eyelash extensions, spray tans, hair. And my clients have all asked me every time I wear them, where did you get those? Those are so cute. So I love them. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
They're like the perfect fall pants.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Our stretchy cord is amazing. So
love it. And then you guys are so darling. It's fun to listen to you talk about your stories, and it's just fun. It makes me like excited about what you're doing. So it's really neat.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for giving us feedback, because this is something that Rebecca and I kind of just discovered together this season and found out we work really well. So on Fridays, we do our fashion side of the Style RX. And then the first and second Wednesday of every month, we do Behind the Curtain on week 1. And then the following week, we really take a deep dive into the commission structure and the business model. And so, yeah, I love hearing that. So thank you so much.
It's really fun.
Kelt, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I think I asked you all my questions.
Well, what's your favorite cabbie piece of the season then?
This season?
She's been a
probably
for a while.
Probably all the houndstooth stuff that I don't have yet.
Oh, well, it's
don't have it yet.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, okay, that needs to be in my closet. It's coming. It's coming. Christmas.
So Lottie, I do have a question for you. Do you specialize in just like eyelashes and face care? What type of stylist?
I mostly do, I started out doing hair and color and all those things. And then I added eyelash extensions. And so now, at first I thought it was just going to be a few clients, but now it's like 50% of my clients are eyelash clients and 50% are hair, which is really fun because my eyelash people, they tell me a lot more because they're laying down, their eyes are closed. We have like some pretty good bonding stories. It's really fun. So, yeah.
And they can't escape either. So
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really fun. I love it.
that's great.
Yeah.
She's darling, and she did not expect to like Cabby.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, that's one thing, like Kelsey can tell you for sure. So Kelsey, actually her mother, I met through somebody I went to college with. And so her mom was actually a guest and then a hostess, and Kelsey kind of grew up watching it. And the one thing that they have really, really, I mean, they're probably the best at it is, there's a lot of women that say, oh, I can't afford that, or it's above my price point, or they have really learned investment wear, and they know that even our Serenity tees, or back when we had Mulligans or anything, those were go-to pieces. I mean, don't think I've ever seen her mom or Kelsey or her sister ever pass up a Serenity tee or a pair of Mulligans at the time. Now it's the joggers, because we are living in this world, especially now, where we want to be comfortable, but not sloppy. And they have really, classic clients that bought one piece the very first time they met me. And over time, they are probably some of my biggest Cabby addicts out there. So it just speaks volumes to the quality of clothes that we have.
Amy said something earlier about I've always loved, I said I've always loved to shop for other people, but growing up, I was in a very small town, and being a green and my feelings get hurt, I was not a fashionista. I loved it, but I was not brave enough to wear any of that. I was not brave enough to step outside the box. I kept it simple. I kept it plain. And that's been one of the most freeing things. I think the people from my hometown see some of my posts and go, what are you wearing? I've never seen you, I remember one of the first times I posted, I had on, I don't know, something with yellow shoes, and someone I went to high school with said, that doesn't match. And I was like, it just has to go. It doesn't have to. So freed me up to mix patterns and just really enjoy fashion the way that I always wanted to.
Well, and when in doubt, just put it on and Cabby after dark, right? Test it out on your man first.
Oh, that was me. Cabby definitely helped me branch out of my black, white, and gray a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the greatest things. Even my husband used to think that if you saw leopard, you were like either, what was it, Peg Bundy, or somebody that was just, we used to go to a lot of the Western hunting events and shows because of my husband's former business, and everyone there was like in like leopard from head to toe, and he was almost like, but now it's weird if he doesn't see me with a little bit of animal print of some kind on. And I love that my confidence has grown, but it has also turned my little mini me 10-year-old daughter into a fashionista on her own right. And my husband appreciates it because he'll actually ask me if it's time to schedule his own Cabby show so that I have makeup on when he sees me every once in a while.
That is so Kevin. So Kevin.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Right.
Do you guys wear mostly Cabby clothes, or do you wear other clothes? Like, what is your wardrobe like? Your personal?
I would say my wardrobe is 98% Cabby. I've got a few like evening wear type things that are non-Cabby, and a couple, I love bright colors. And so I've got like a really bright yellow trench coat or raincoat and some things like that, but 98% is Cabby.
Well, and for me, I agree with Rebecca. Like I have a few graphic t-shirts and stuff that are not Cabby, but I think the one thing that you've noticed just with the cords that you have, Cabby is so comfortable. And so I've been doing this for so long that I continue to audit my closet and get rid of things. And I used to hold on to jeans for whatever reason. And I go back now and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are hard and stiff. And why? Like, did I have to squat in them 10 times for them to go over my thighs? Like, what was I thinking? And so really, even though I could probably go out and buy something else, I don't want to. I mean, Cabby is honestly and this is what I tell my clients, and Kelsey can vouch for me. I always say, if when you put it on, it doesn't organically give you a smile or make you feel good in it, then take it off. There's not going to be one item, like for all 100 items are not going to fit every client that we have. So there's so much to choose from as a stylist. Like, I don't need to look outside. And so honestly, after all these years, because I've really been shopping Cabby since 2006, there's no reason other than, like Rebecca said, I don't even really have anything formal, but I might have a graphic t-shirt or something that I'll wear with a Cabby blazer. Or, I mean, I just bought my first pair of workout pants that were not Cabby, vintage Cabby tech pants, but that's because I have a client who was selling it, and I was like, well, I want to support her, and that's great. So I will buy things like that. I really try and support my clients that way, but I prefer Cabby clothes.
Yes, I would say the same thing. Mine's probably about 90% Cabby.
Well, and you've gotten rid of all your buckle stuff that you held on to for
long. I had a pair of buckle jeans that because buckle jeans were the thing for me, and it was really hard for me to switch to Cabby in the beginning. But now I got rid of them actually just a couple weeks ago. I had held on to them, and I put them on, and I was like, you bend over one time and my butt's hanging out. Like, they're so uncomfortable. They just did not, I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer, and you've got to believe in what you sell and represent. And so for me, it would feel disingenuous to wear a bunch of other clothes when I'm selling these. So if I don't love them enough to live in them, then I shouldn't be selling them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a good tax incentive, you know? I mean, we get to look amazing. Every 6 months we have clothes come in, and who gets to write their clothes off? Nobody, but we do. You know, even real estate agents don't get that as a tax write-off, but we do. So, you know, can't hurt that part.
Yep, for sure.
Gina, what's your wardrobe like? Is it more Cabby?
It's getting there. I'm still probably, I'm probably 70%, because I didn't know, I mean, I've only known about Cabby for 6 seasons. And my biggest thing is just like, what do you do with all the clothes you get rid of? What has helped me a lot is I do teach middle school, and a lot of those girls wear the same size that I do. So things that are more casual, I'm able to just take it to school. I have a red bucket that my kids, when we were in school, they were like, is that the red bucket? Because it was just like, it means I cleaned out my closet, and the girls just got dibs on whatever they wanted. So that helped a lot. Because my struggle is they're really nice clothes. What do you do with them? So it's nice when you know you have a place for them. So I'm getting there.
Well, and you're impacting these young women too. So
Awesome.
that's awesome.
Well, I think that we probably want to wrap things up here pretty quick, right, Amy?
Mm-hmm. Unless
we
have
have any other question.
Well, yeah. I have one. What is the shirt you two are wearing underneath your jacket that is the same?
Are you wearing the under over?
No, I have the old plum. It's like a plum, not Serenity tee, but the round necked plum top we had years ago.
And I am wearing the under over cami, and then I just have it belted. So it's that Ponte knit thicker.
Is that in our book right now, Jamie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has the.
Oh, it's got like a tank top thing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's so cute with that jacket.
Thank you.
I was looking at my this is what I'm looking at while you guys are doing your job. I'm going through the whole Cabby thing, trying to find that jacket. Yeah, it's really cute.
Well, this is in the new arrivals. So if you're on Cabby tab, go to menu and scroll all the way down.
I did. I found it. Yeah.
You find it? Okay.
Yeah. It's so cute.
You would like the simple tee in the berry color with it.
Okay.
Well, do you know what? Let me just show you that it's going to be a deal breaker. It's going to make or look at your pants.
Oh,
It's so cute with this.
oh my gosh, those pants.
So you better get it.
I
Get it
blame
while you can, because you're about ready to lose your chance by the end of the season.
I be honest, those pants, I'm in Oklahoma and I'm an OU graduate, and that probably means nothing to you, but Texas is like our like, burnt orange makes me puke. And when I saw those pants, I'm like, oh, I don't know. They're so close to burnt orange. But then when they called them caramel, I could live with that. And they are some of my favorite pants. And I'm like, they're caramel. They're caramel. They're not, they're caramel. They're caramel.
You can call it whatever you want, and your clients will call it that too. So good for you.
I love it. Well, we want to thank our guest stylist for being with us tonight, and thank our guests definitely for being with us as well. We appreciate you so very much. If you are interested in taking a deeper dive into how we make our money and the ins and outs of the business model, we're going to be back next Wednesday night at 5 Pacific, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And we're going to go through that in detail for you and answer any of the questions that you have. And you do want to tune in on Fridays at 10 Pacific, 11 Mountain, noon Central, and 1 Eastern for Style RX. We cover a different fashion topic every week. We keep those to about 30 minutes, and it's just super fun. You can pop in on your lunch break, and we also record that. If you miss it live, you can always watch the links. So thank you all.
Fridays is casual, is holiday casual wear.
Yes, so. This Friday is casual holidays. The following Friday is glitzy holidays, and can't remember what the next week is.
Last minute gifts, I think.
Last minute gifts, you're right.
So, okay. You guys, thank you so much. See, we miss hugging, so now we kiss on Zoom, right?
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, guys.